Hey there, everyone. Let's see here. Okay, I am getting closer. And so, all right. We are almost there. Okay. Oops. And so, with all of the technology stuff, right? Okay. It just seems like when it comes to the technology, sometimes we're almost there. Almost there. Oh, that was loud. All right, one more thing for those of you who are. You heard that. I don't know what's going on with technology today, right? And so, welcome to Empower Your Evolution. And I'm doing this series, it's not even a series. Actually, I'm introducing, shall I say, Empower Your Evolution. I talked about it a little bit last week, and I wanted to bring it to front because when it comes to transitioning, a lot of times we don't realize that there's evolution in that, and if we're not purposely empowering ourselves through the process, we can easily get lost. And so this is one of the reasons that I am bringing this to the forefront. And the other thing is that I've learned, one, personally and not just professionally, but in that it's really good to get support because it helps with the progress. And the support can come in different ways. But I will say, by being in community, it really helps, especially if you are drifting, because sometimes depends on where you are in the different transitions that you may be within life, in that you can drift, and it's so easy to do because you have so much on your plate. And for those of you who are on Facebook or on TikTok, I am on YouTube. And so if you want to join me over on YouTube, I'm at Sharon D. Brown, Self Carepreneur. In that, in and of itself, especially just in case we get disconnected, because for whatever reason, I wasn't able to plug that in. And so, when it comes to Empower Your Evolution, this is Mastering Transitions, especially for women entrepreneurs who are 40 plus. And with that, and let's see, is it allowing me to do what I wanted to do? It's not doing that right now. So, a little bit about me. My name is Sharon D. Brown, and I am the founder of Self Care U Academy. And pretty much what has propelled me into this work was really a breakup. It was my own personal experience that led me to say, hey, there's something going on, in this world with me, what is going on here? And then also by me working in this field of mental health, that had a lot to do with it too. And then navigating my parents' medical challenges, medical mishap, medical mayhem, should I say, and mishap. I'm trying to put two words together, y'all. But the thing is, I wanted to bring this up front and close, because this, in taking care of ourselves, and especially during transition, but more so in sustaining, that's really the takeaway that I've gotten out of my experience. What are we doing to maintain our mental health, our mental wellness, our really well-being? And to be honest, y'all, we can do better. We can do more. I'm gonna leave it like that. But through that journey, it propelled me into this movement of self-care, and especially when it comes to entrepreneurs and when it comes to executives. And there are two reasons of why I had decided to focus on executives and entrepreneurs. And the main reason is, one, y'all are stressed out, and then a lot of times you can be, you experience transition just like everybody else. Just by me being a therapist, it does not exempt me from heartbreak. It doesn't exempt me from my parents experiencing what they experience, and it doesn't exempt me from heartbreak. It doesn't exempt me from anything else. So just like you all, in that, excuse me, just like you all, in that we all can experience life. And the thing is what I have seen is that we can do better in taking care of our well-being. And if anything that became crisp clear to me, especially in working in the field and even with my own experience, is that we're not doing enough of the simple things of taking care of ourselves, which sometimes even lead to bigger things. And then where crisis and urgencies and breakdown occur, a lot of times we are doing the things, but just don't have the knowledge that we're doing the things that can be beneficial. So I wanted to bring this much closer to you all, and to really be a guide and a space for entrepreneurs and executives. And so, first of all, what I want you to know is that whatever experience that you had or are having, you're not broken. You are not broken. Whatever experience that you have, you are not broken. You're involving all of the experiences that you have, the heartaches, if you're a caregiver, even the things that you are going through, or I don't want to say going through, but you are experiencing or navigating, or it just is. Because even as a therapist, we may not always talk about it openly, but there are, certain settings in which we can be going through something, or just by being in the field. Again, you are not broken, you are evolving. Now, with Empower Your Evolution, this is for women who are 40 plus. And if you're getting close there, this is open to you because you're going to be 40 one day. This is for entrepreneurs, executives, business owners, and you're navigating life or business in transition or your personal growth. You're successful, but you just don't quite feel it yet. You're like, something just not right, you're unaligned, you're unbalanced, and you're just uncertain. And you really don't know what's going on with you. And some of you may even think that something is wrong with you. And again, you are not broken. And wherever you are in your entrepreneurship, you can be in the beginning, you can be in the middle, you could have done this 15, 20 years or so. This applies to you too, that you can be in a season in your life in which you're just ready to move forward. You're tired of being stuck wherever you are, or you're just tired of experiencing what you're experiencing, especially if it's a new and an active transition. Because I can remember that after a breakup. And you're just ready to move forward with clarity and support. And believe me, it's needed. Now, when it comes to transitions, there's some truth about it. Transitions do not just change what you do. A lot of times, especially like after a breakup, especially if you're living with someone, and that changes the dynamics of who's going to live where, and then with the interactions that you've had, that's no more. It can be transition from a job, whether it's a layoff, or it could be a volunteer transition where you decided that, hey, you're going to enter this entrepreneurship. Again, transition don't just change you, but they change how you feel, they change your mood, they change your thinking process, all kind of things be coming through your mind. Some of you may end up doubting yourself, self-sabotaging, and if anything, and I know that this was for me, it can definitely change how you show up. And even if no one around you notice it, because it's how it makes you feel. And transitions can also change your self-concept, the way that you think about yourself, the way that you think that other people think about yourself. So that pretty much impacts your confidence that you have in yourself and your self-esteem as well. And it can just diminish you being authentic, like your true self. And you don't want that to happen, right? But those transitions, and again, when it comes to transitions, there's so many, I kind of call it, there's so many things that can be happening at the same time. It may not always be the big transitions, but it can be a transition in and of itself. And so when it comes to transitions, it can be a breakup, separation, divorce, a new job, or a promotion, different stages of the entrepreneurship, especially when you're new, but even when you're somewhere in between too, and business challenges or challenges at work, even identity shift as well. Imposter syndromes, we've all heard about that. Phases of parenthood, caregiving, or family responsibility, and even a new home or relocation. And so when it comes to transitions, even the good transitions, y'all get this, even good transitions can disrupt you. Because when it comes, when it comes to growth, it can still dysregulate you, unbalance you, and just disrupt your confidence habits, and your nervous system. And especially when it comes to your nervous system, we don't talk about that a lot. We hear about regulating your nervous system, and I think that people think that something is wrong with them or lack of free will. And even for some people who's not presenting, I'm going to say like in a work environment, when it comes to your boss, they may look at you, what, you can't handle this? What's wrong with you? No, that's not how that works, y'all. That's not how that works. And if you're a supervisor or someone in leadership, you first of all, if you're responding that way, that means that your nervous system is not regulated and you have no understanding of what, how the nervous system impacts a person's life. And if you're a supervisor, you need to know that. Seriously, that's not just a therapy thing, that's a human thing. It's a life thing. That's why it's important for us to learn about ourselves. And so, with all of that I was saying, when it came to the growth and dysregulating and unbalancing and things like that, what do most women do? We push through, we stay busy, minimize your needs, and just keep performing and showing up. And especially for those of you who are parents, who are mothers, and those of you who are partners, especially when you're married. Oh, you show up 10 times, and I love you all for it. But what I will say, when you are not in tune to your own needs, there could be a hefty price to pay. Then you wonder why you're feeling so exhausted, you're feeling so tight, you have no energy, you got a headache, you got aches and pains, your mood is changing, and don't even get into menopause. That's a whole different. But with all of this, when it comes to transition, the thing that's missing is having structure, support, and having systems. And when it comes to structure can pretty much give you that rhythm, that boundary, and that stability that's going to be very beneficial. And when it comes to support, that's basically, someone or something that can help guide you and keep you, pretty much in place. And when it comes to systems, those are the things that can help you work. Now, I'm going to say there are two types of structure, support, and systems, because a lot of times, even the ones that I just named, they're external. What's really important are the internal structure that you have within yourself, how you can restructure yourself within the inside with your words, with how you're thinking, and even in nurturing your nervous system. And the support, the internal support that you're giving yourself, when you're going through something, what are you saying to yourself? Are you calling yourself names? Are you saying all the negative things that can be said? Or are you empowering yourself? Sometimes it can be hard when you're, in that low mood. However, it is really important. And then the systems that you have in place, meaning like the rituals that you have in place, so that it can all come together. Because of the fact, when structure, support, and systems are in place, transition, when they're not in place, I'll put it like that, transition can feel chaotic. And we all know that, right? But once they get restored, transition becomes the pathway and it's not a setback. And so for those of you who are on Facebook here, my phone is going dead. So we're going to end that there. And so, in order to counteract what's missing, this is where the power of the 3 T's come into play. And the power of the 3 T's, they're transparency, transition, and transformation. It's like transition of the transition. And so the power of the 3 T's of evolution is transparency. And that is a big one, y'all. And that's the one we're going to focus on the most. But just in general, when it comes to transparency, it's honestly assessing who you are, where you are, who you want to be. That's that new identity of where you coming from and where you want to be. And then transition is where you're moving from one state of being to a more empowered version of yourself. And as entrepreneurs, it's not that we're always trying to be better at the craft, but to be better of who we are. And y'all, that is a lot of identity work. I don't even think I realized of how much identity work that is until recent. And then there's a profound, then with transformation is the outcome. It's the profound change in your character, your personality, or your lifestyle. And here we're talking about lifestyle, y'all. We're talking about lifestyle because of the fact none of this is possible if you just start and stop and you do not continue, because we're all about sustaining your sanity while you're thriving under pressure. And so, again, we're focusing more on transparency, which is the foundation for every meaningful transition. And again, we're always in transition, so it's important for us to be honest with ourselves. And what does transparency really mean? A lot of times when it comes to transparency, you think that the way society have it is like you being open to other people. That's just like when we're on live or talking on social media. It's like, well, I'm going to be transparent here. But the thing is, for you to be transparent with yourself is to face the truth of who you are, face the truth of where you are, to face the truth of what's not working. You're like, okay, this is not working anymore. I need to stop doing this. To face the truth of what your needs are, of what is next, and just to have those honest conversations and to face the reality of whatever it is. Like, yes, the job is gone. Yes, the breakup happened. Yes, whatever that may be in your transition, but for you to face that, and that takes for you to be able to sit down, to give yourself that space to be in the moment. Like sometimes when we talk about being present, being in the moment, where you're listening to others, how about being present and being in the moment of listening to yourself? Because of the fact, when you're not able to do that, when it comes to your calling, when it comes to your mission, your ministry, when it comes to all of that, in that, you can end up self-sabotaging when you're not truthful with you there. But you can pretty much, as they say, fake it till you make it until you can't make it anymore. So that's why it's so important for you to be completely honest with yourself. And when it comes to this, when you do this, there's no judgment, there's no shame, just the truth of what is presented to you at that particular time. And make sure you give yourself some grace, y'all. Sometimes when you're transitioning, out of a relationship, out of a job, from a job, or it can be something else. It can even be like, even when it comes to caregiving, even though that's not a choice per se, meaning the condition or what your family or parents or whoever it may be, what they're dealing with is not your choice of what they're experiencing. But because of the fact you're experiencing that, give yourself some grace and some self-compassion, y'all. Do this because of the fact, if you're not honest of where you are with yourself, where you are with your business, where you are, what you need, within your business, what phase what truth that you need to face when it comes to you being an entrepreneur. Because some of you may be questioning, is this really for me? Because there's a lot of internal work that has to be done. And so when it comes to transitions, this is one way that you can do it, is by being transparent with yourself. And when you're transparent with yourself, it gives you clarity. You're able to see clearly. May not be in that same city, but you're able to see eventually clearly of the next step of where you are and just who you are in that, given time. And you have much more self-awareness as well. And all of this is needed when it comes to your personal and your professional growth, y'all. It allows you to assess the current situation with, again, we already kind of talked about of where you truly are, like where you truly are in your business, where you truly are in your life, what's really going on. It's like, and to even give yourself permission to feel the hurt, or if it's passing of a person, to be able to grieve that. And by being honest with yourself, you're able to identify key challenges that you really have. What are you having a hard time with? Are you having a hard time in certain areas and letting go, or moving forward? Even though I'm saying those words, and when it comes to grief, I would just say when it comes to grief, it's not that they don't apply, it's just that we can't put a time limit on it when it comes to that. But it gives you the opportunity to reflect of where you stand in your life and your business, and what's working and what isn't working. And one of the reasons that transparency comes first when it comes to when you're transitioning, in that without transparency, transitions can feel chaotic. Any habits, tools that you're using, they don't stick. You stop using any rituals that you have, you stop. And then if you burn out or overwhelm, it just continues to repeat itself. It really does. If you're not honest on what your needs are, because if you're not honest on what your needs are, then you won't even go and seek. And even if what you need comes to you, because if you're not honest, you're going to throw it out. You're going to like, I don't need it. And especially as women who are successful, who has accomplished things, who are ambitious, you're the first one. And that is not true. Not at all. We all need some type of help or assistance or guidance or support, and especially when it comes to community or circle at some point. And I really feel like we need it, period, in order to succeed with our calling. And otherwise, if you're not honest of where you are and what your needs are, then whatever transformation that you have is just temporary. It's almost kind of similar to losing weight. People, for individuals, when you're losing weight, you may hire that personal trainer. Even if you do it, you change your eating, you change, your exercise and your lifestyle. But if you're not transparent of like your true why, if you don't get down to your true why, and then again, the transformation is going to reverse itself. And so I do want to give you a moment to reflect. I want you to reflect on, and for those of you who are on YouTube, you're able to see the flyer. I'm not saying the flyer, the PowerPoint. And you can add, I want you to choose a question. For those of you who are on YouTube, choose a question that stands out, that resonates with you. Who am I, honestly? Where am I right now, really? What am I avoiding admitting to myself? And what season am I in? And I'm like, those last two questions, y'all. Ooh, I tell you, those last two questions. But I want to give you a moment to answer one of those questions. All right, so you had the opportunity to answer that question. And then for those of you who are, for those of you who are on Facebook and TikTok, by all means, make sure you go to YouTube so that one, you can see this in, you can see the replay, and then you can take a snapshot of the reflection moment question so you can sit with it, because it's so important for us to be able to do that. One thing that I do want you to know is that when it comes to transitions, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Especially like when it comes to a breakup. Yeah, I would say to take accountability, whatever part that you've played, we all play a part, either voluntarily or involuntarily. I call that the unconscious. We may play a part in that, but just know that transition is a natural part of life, and it's a natural part of growth, especially for us as entrepreneurs. Especially, there's so much growth there, and we need it. We need the growth. And so transition is also a space between who you were, meaning who you were before the diagnosis, who you were before the breakup, who you were before your parents, needed extra help. And it's that space of who you were and who you're becoming. And that's the new identity. And one thing that I will say is that in order for you to have transformation, it requires support. It requires some level of support, because being insightful, enlightened, and awareness alone, it does not create change. Structure, accountability, and practice does that, y'all. Structure, accountability, and practice. Because sometimes, because I know even with myself, when it comes to certain new habits, especially in this business, in this business, I just say in the business as an entrepreneur, there's some things that are new, but again, I'll use batching. If batching is not done on a regular basis, then you end up paying for it. But there are, certain, it's a habit. It's become a habit. That's just one example, y'all. And so, in saying that, I am introducing Empower Your Evolution. Empower Your Evolution is a 90-day guided experience for women in transition. And with Empower Your Evolution, this experience is inside the Fortitude Free Circle, and it's the VIP tier inside the circle. And with Fortitude Free is for entrepreneurs and executives, where it is there to help y'all build discipline, embrace challenges, and to sustain resilience. And y'all, all of it takes work, and you can't do it completely by yourself because of the fact life be lifing, and then sometimes too, even with your own self-talk, And when things are not, when you're developing a new habit, it's so easy to go back to your old habits, to your old self, even though you're trying to do things, because the things that you're doing, it helps you to become. And within this circle, again, it's for entrepreneur, and it really helps you to create that space. But when it comes to taking care of yourself and achieving things, sometimes you think it's just all of this grand stuff. It is, but it's the baby steps and it's the integrate steps that you take to allow you to do that. So within that, if anything that I've learned through my own experience and in working with others, again, it's the basic of doing the things that need to be done so that you can achieve the things that need to be achieved. And so we have weekly Fortitude Free rituals. We have weekly planning and co-working sessions, as well as we provide inspiration and motivation on techniques so that you can thrive under pressure. And I definitely hone on to the Take 5 to Thrive Today wellness boosters, because you don't do that, you just don't. And for those who are in the premium tier, they have access to meditative moments, which is once a month. And that involves meditation, embodiment work, and in the future, other services will be added to that. And so, with Empower Your Evolution, well, what that entails is a 90-day journey with support. And in the first 30 days, it's about you reviving yourself. And part of that is through the transparency. You get clarity, there are habits, and help you to develop habits and planning out your life and get you into the execution mode, because without that, then you will pretty much it makes the transition, what you're transitioning from, that much harder. And then the next 30 to 60 days is for you to restore and revitalize. And that's to really focus on practice, consistency, and integrating so you can, sustain. And what's included in the VIP, again, is a 90-day guided empowerment experience, one-on-one consultation, plus some follow-ups, weekly structure accountability. There's question and answer and mindset support, and everything in the standard and premium. And also, you have 1 full year. It's a 90-day guided empowerment, but you get 1 full year inside the circle for support. And the investment is $9.99 for the year. And we are taking application for the first cohort. We're only accepting 5 participants. And again, this includes the full 90-day experience plus 1 year of support. And this VIP are for women who are 40, entrepreneurs, business individuals. You're tired of starting over, you want some support, not pressured, you need the structure that feels grounding and centering, and you're ready to be honest and consistent. And again, this is application based. So for those of you who wants to take advantage of this opportunity, because the other thing is after the first cohort, then the price will go up. And the price will go up. So definitely get your application in. And so if you're ready for support and just not more information, I invite you to supply. And so comment empower, and we will send you the link for those of you who are on social media. For everyone else, the link is in the chat. And so I do appreciate everyone for coming for coming here.